Welcome to Sound Values, powered in part by LSA Burger and Classic of
Ladies
Denton.
and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in live today on DentonRadio.com. We are located in the beautiful Discover Denton Welcome Center on the getting a little bit warmer. It was cold over the weekend. Denton Square. My name is Kind Beats, and today I've got a first-timer here in the DentonRadio.com studios. I got the homie Daily Breed. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good to have you with us, man. Now, I'll give y'all a quick background on how I met this guy. This stems from the Sundays that we do down at Backyard on Bell. As y'all know, Breakfast and Beats, Sunday Brunch, another program we have here. And he happened to come out one day, and he gave me his SoundCloud link. I actually drove home, listened to it, and then drove back to come tell him that I wanted to book him for that, but he was gone. He was gone, so I ended up getting in contact with him, and we've had him on a couple of times now. He's back. Actually just played this Sunday, recovering for a little bit from, it was the shoulder surgery.
Yeah, I had a torn labrum back in September, so I'd been out for a couple months.
Yeah. And y'all think that making beats is not a labor-intensive thing. It is. Trust me, there's a lot of this involved. You can't be doing that with a torn shoulder,
A lot of neck breaking, a lot of everything.
Exactly. So, man, I kind of want to learn I know you through hanging out and through music and stuff like that, but this kind of gives myself and then the audience an opportunity to get to learn you kind of behind the music and how people find kind of their way to what music they want to make, whether it's rock, jazz, beats, hip-hop, jazz, whatever you're feeling. So my first question for you, man, is what is your first musical memory, that first time that you remember music has an impact on people?
So the first thing that I can think of when I think of like me just appreciating music in the beginning is definitely from watching Adult Swim.
Okay.
When I wasn't supposed to. So late nights, whenever they did like the bumps and they had the words on the screen, like I would hear those beats and I would just be like, man, like this is some good stuff. Like, but I wasn't really into music, like making music back then. Like that wasn't really my thing. Like I wanted to make video games when I was younger.
Okay.
So that wasn't really like my passion per se. That wasn't what I was gonna pursue in life, but I just remember appreciating the fact that they had this music. And then I learned about MF Doom.
Okay,
I learned about MF Doom from Adult Swim, from watching that. I think he had like a Christmas episode or something like that. I'm like, who is this guy? So like from then on, I pretty much just started finding my own way in music and just appreciating it a lot more from then.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I've had a couple different producers, Mercy being one, where he was on in the Adult Swim, man. I never, like, y'all were a few years younger than me, and so I never was watching Adult Swim when I was when that stuff started coming around, the bumps. I didn't even have cable back then, but
I was lucky.
But my girlfriend really likes this show. It's called Disjointed on Netflix, and there's a character in that show where he has these really crazy, like, kind of Adult Swim hallucinations when he's like daydreaming, right? And I even asked, I was like, the music too. I was like, this sounds a lot like and looks a lot like Adult Swim. And when she looked it up, it was the Adult Swim producers, the guys who made that show. They created those cartoons, and the beats too. They sounded like Flylo, and they sounded like that stuff that you would hear on those late night bumps. And like, I've always wondered, like, how does Adult Swim? Do those guys really know how much that impacted people? And
I think they have a good idea. I forgot his name, the guy that directs their music, but he's real knowledgeable when it comes to music. I follow him on Twitter. I send him stuff all the time, but they haven't hit me back. But
keep trying.
I know, yeah.
Sometimes I send my stuff to H&M.
Yeah, hey, whatever.
Yeah,
man.
this girl one time, she was like, "What do you do?" Like, I was buying some stuff. She's like, "Got something?" I was like, "Yeah, I got a show tonight." Oh, blah blah blah. And she's like, "You should send our music to our corporate office." I figured I'd try. I never heard from him.
Hey, you gotta keep trying though.
Exactly, keep sending it to him.
Yeah, I know.
Welcome to Sound Values, powered in part by LSA Burger and Classic of
Ladies and
Denton.
gentlemen, thank you for tuning in live today on DentonRadio.com. We are located in the beautiful Discover Denton Welcome Center on the getting a little bit warmer. It was cold over the weekend. Denton Square. My name is Kind Beats, and today I've got a first-timer here in the DentonRadio.com studios. I got the homie Daily Breed. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good to have you with us, man. Now, I'll give y'all a quick background on how I met this guy. This stems from the Sundays that we do down at Backyard on Bell. As y'all know, Breakfast and Beats, Sunday Brunch, another program we have here. And he happened to come out one day, and he gave me his SoundCloud link. I actually drove home, listened to it, and then drove back to come tell him that I wanted to book him for that, but he was gone. So I ended up getting in contact with him, and we've had him on a couple of times now. He's back. Actually just played this Sunday, recovering for a little bit from it was the shoulder surgery.
Yeah, I had a torn labrum back in September, so I'd been out for a couple months.
Yeah. And y'all think that making beats is not a labor-intensive thing. It is. Trust me, there's a lot of this involved. You can't be doing that with a torn shoulder,
A lot of neck
man.
breaking, a lot of everything.
Exactly. So, man, I kind of want to learn I know you through hanging out and through music and stuff like that, but this kind of gives myself and then the audience an opportunity to get to learn you kind of behind the music and how people find kind of their way to what music they want to make, whether it's rock, jazz, beats, hip-hop, jazz, whatever you're feeling. So my first question for you, man, is what is your first musical memory, that first time that you remember music has an impact on people?
So the first thing that I can think of when I think of like me just appreciating music in the beginning is definitely from watching Adult Swim.
Okay.
When I wasn't supposed to. So late nights, whenever they did like the bumps and they had the words on the screen, like I would hear those beats and I would just be like, man, like this is some good stuff. Like, but I wasn't really into music, like making music back then. Like that wasn't really my thing. Like I wanted to make video games when I was younger.
Okay.
So that wasn't really like my passion per se. That wasn't what I was going to pursue in life, but I just remember appreciating the fact that they had this music. And then I learned about MF Doom.
Okay,
I learned about MF Doom from Adult Swim, from watching that. I think he had like a Christmas episode or something like that. I'm like, who is this guy? So like from then on, I pretty much just started finding my own way in music and just appreciating it a lot more from then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's interesting because I've had a couple different producers, Mercy being one, where he was on in the Adult Swim, man. See, I never, like, y'all are a few years younger than me, and so I never was watching Adult Swim when when that stuff started coming around, the bumps. I didn't even have cable back then, but
I was lucky.
But my girlfriend really likes this show. It's called Disjointed on Netflix, and there's a character in that show where he has these really crazy, like kind of Adult Swim hallucinations when he's like daydreaming, right? And I even asked, I was like, the music too. I was like, this sounds a lot like and looks a lot like Adult Swim. And when she looked it up, it was the Adult Swim producers, the guys who made that show. They created those cartoons, and the beats too. They sounded like Flylo, and they sounded like that stuff that you would hear on those late night bumps. And like I've always wondered, like, how does Adult Swim? Do those guys really know how much that impacted people? And
I think they have a good idea. I forgot his name, the guy that directs their music, but he's real knowledgeable when it comes to music. I follow him on Twitter. I send him stuff all the time, but they haven't hit me back. But
keep trying.
I know, yeah.
Sometimes I send my stuff to H&M.
Yeah, hey, whatever.
Yeah,
man.
this girl one time, she was like, "What do you do?" Like, I was buying some stuff. She was like, "Got something?" I was like, "Yeah, I got a show tonight." Oh, blah blah blah. And she was like, "You should send our music to our corporate office." I figured I'd try. I never heard from him.
Hey, you gotta keep trying though.
Exactly, keep sending it to him.
Yeah, I know for a fact that the whole team, they know what they're doing over there because they've been around for so long, and they have a lot of respect in the game. So I know they know what they're doing.
Yeah, man. They, like I said, just hearing the music that they put into that show on Netflix, I was like, whoa, this is
like you gotta have a certain taste to put that in there anyway.
Yeah, precisely. And so, what year? How old were you when you say you were watching Adult Swim and you weren't supposed to be?
I can't remember exactly what age. It had to be before at least 10 years old.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it had to.
So this is young. Yeah,
It had to be.
Good.
It had to be before that. Another thing too that I can remember with music is like I used to make. Everybody had LimeWire back in the day.
Oh yeah.
But I used to make a bunch of just mix CDs of like random stuff. Like I would make mix CDs out of like anime intros. Like I would have like 10 of them from like whatever anime I was watching and just listen to them all day, bro. Like
so in a way, at a young age, man, you were kind of already involved in what was going to become like more of this kind of lo-fi anime type scene. You were already kind of.
I wasn't even thinking about it.
It hadn't all converged together as where. now you've got people down in Atlanta who it's like they're having specific shows that involve video games and anime and lo-fi. You know, I think it's interesting how all those personalities kind of tangled together, and I think Cowboy Bebop had kind of a lot to do with that in a way too. You know, fusing jazz and hip hop and just those soundtracks.
Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo.
They were all kind of something else, man. That I think. You know, it opened people up to this like different style of music, and even when I was in high school, that was when the Boondocks came out, and so I was watching a lot of the Boondocks with my homie Court Stewart. Shout out. You know, I didn't have cable, he did, so we go over to his place and like watch it, and that was where, you know, even that intro song, you know, like. I am the stone that the building refused. You know, like,
bro, I used to know all the lyrics.
Yeah, you know, and so that make ladies sing the blues. You know, I just thought that song and the lyrics and the beat was cool, and then that was when I found Gangstar. Okay. You know, because I kind of heard that, and then I heard Gangstar, and I was like, whoa, these guys sound a lot like this, and it wasn't Gangstar, but I liked that monotone with the beats and everything. And so, as you got older, how did you kind of start to work these? Because you said video games at first, but what kind of started getting you into the beats, and how did you evolve into that?
So it's kind of weird with beats, because none of the people that I'm really influenced by musically like made me want to start making beats.
Like who was that? Who are those influences?
So it was actually, well, who are my influences, or who actually got me wanting to do it?
Who got you? Okay, let's start with who are the influences.
So influences right now, I would say like for sure Madlib, Jay Dilla, Kanye West, of course, Pharrell. Those are just off the top of my head.
The unaging one?
Pharrell?
Yeah,
right.
Dude has looked...
The vampire.
Yeah, I'm serious. He's looked 27 for the last 20 years. Like,
yeah, those are just like the main ones off the top of my head. Now, what got me started making music, it was weird. I was with my homie, and you know who Lex Luger is? He's like a...
Who hasn't had a drum kit from Lex Luger or something?
Exactly. That's like the first one I got.
Yep.
But he makes like trap beats, and that's not really like my sound or anything. But at the time... me and him, we're just chilling, we're smoking, whatever, and he puts on a video of him making a beat, and I think he was like 17 at the time, and we were just watching it, and then I just enjoyed watching the process. Like I just liked watching him like build it up from nothing to something.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, man, I could do this. Like I could try and do it. And so. Like that same week, Michael actually, because Michael was already making beats before me.
He was making beats at like 12 or 13.
He's been making music his whole life.
That's crazy. Yep.
But it was him and then some other friends I had. They actually had a group back in. We all went to the same high school, and they actually had a group back then, and they were rapping, they were making beats, they were doing all that, and I just went over there one day, and they were just showing me how to use FL Studio, and like I sat down. I made a trash beat, but like I liked it. Like I was loving the process. So I think that same week I went home, downloaded FL Studio demo, and I've been on there ever since.
Yeah, that's I think a lot of like I had a buddy, my homie Jared. He would make beats on FL, and we would go over there and rap, and then he would chop and screw them. Way down. So our voice, yo. You can still go and listen to it. He called us Dove Creek Assassins. That was the street he lived on. Was Dove Creek. It was horrible. It was terrible. Don't go and listen to it. Don't look it up on YouTube. Don't do any of that. I was never on one of those tracks. If anybody was ever wondering, but we would go over there, and that was kind of how I got at least familiar with an interface. I wasn't making beats back then. Jared was doing it, and some of them were good. Some of them were just all with trash, just like you said. But it was just the fun of getting together with your buddies and then coming up with that. And then slowly but surely you start to learn things. So when I was first learning Ableton, YouTube didn't have a whole lot of videos. And so it was a lot of just like plug and play and try and this and that. How did you kind of start to get a feel for it beyond just hanging out with your friends?
It was, my friend, my other friend Andrew, he had been using the program. He was making all kinds of music on there before, so he kind of showed me a lot on there. But really YouTube, man, like YouTube was like, when I started at least, YouTube was definitely the way where you want to go. Yeah. It's where you want to go to find all your information. So that's where I was at.
Yeah, like when I first started typing in like tutorials, I was just wanting to know how to make like a white build noise,
yeah.
Because it was all about EDM for me when I first started. All about like, hey, I've admitted it multiple times. I wanted to make dubstep. Oh man, that was what I wanted to do. I don't know.
This interview's over.
Yeah, but that was just how it started for me. And then the more research I did, you know, and the more I started to learn stuff, then the more I started to develop my own sound. And, you know, I got older, and that's really what it was, just getting older, and my ears were like, I can't handle all this.
Yeah, it was the same thing for me. Like when I started, I had just started like smoking a little bit. So I started listening to like Wiz Khalifa and like everybody in that little camp. So I was making kind of like chill, not like what I make now, but just like chill, kind of like harder hitting beats.
Yeah.
But as I kind of just surfed through SoundCloud and just kind of found my own sound, I changed it up.
Yeah, and you know, that was like, I talked to Mercy too, and I was like, man, you've got like 1,000 followers on SoundCloud. He's like, well, at first I just started making trap beats, and so tons of rappers were paying attention to that. He's like, but then I started getting into the different types of music, and that's how I started to mold my sound. So did you find, as you started to learn more things, did you find yourself staying in a bit more often, like working on music? And,
for sure.
And kind of, and so, you know, for you, like, you know, did you have any kind of like influence growing up, like parental influences, brothers, sisters, cousins, anybody who kind of like, you know, kind of maybe put some sound in your ear or something of that sort?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I just watched like an old family video of me when I was like 3 years old, and I had some some cousins that were rapping around me and stuff like that. So maybe subconsciously I took some of that in, but no one really came to me and was like, here, try this. Or like, you know, no one really like showed me how to make music. I just kind of found it. I feel like it found me, honestly. Like the way it happened, like I just feel like it just came to me.
And you just, you were gravitated towards that.
Right.
Yeah, man. You know, I used to ride around with my older brother, and he would play like Bone Thugs and Biggie, and he would tell me like, don't tell mom we're listening to this, you know, like don't. So I always like, and the thing was like when I bought Ludacris's Word of Mouth CD, and then my mom took it away from me because that one song, Move, explicit, you know, word at the end. She was like, I don't know about this song. And even now I'm like, you know, even back then I was like, yeah, you're probably right. Like that probably isn't a song a 13-year-old guy should listen to. But I told her, I said, it's not about the words, it's about the feeling. You know, it was about the way the sounds like made me feel. And like when I listened to, anything off that CD, Word of Mouth, I just felt powerful. You know, or it's like you'd listen to, you know, like when I heard, you know, like Eminem for the first time, I was like, whoa, like it was very,
so after
very
you
punchy.
gave her that explanation, did she let you listen to the CD?
No, I don't know what happened to it. I don't know what occurred. But then once I could drive, once I had my own car, that was when it was all over. You know, I even had like a special little hiding spot where I'd put my CDs, so if she decided to go search the ride, she couldn't find them. Because she was like, you better not go buy that 8 Mile CD. I did.
Had to.
You know, and so I had all these other tracks. But then, like you said, burning CDs came along, and then it was, you know, I'm sorry, parents, but you couldn't stop us. So, like you were saying, man, nobody really kind of showed you it. It just kind of found you. And really, I was influenced so much by my friends around me to get into music. You know, that and girls. That did it too. It was sports, you know, all the, like, you know, so I was like, oh, well, that's cool. Like I talked to Dalton, and Dalton was like, well, at my school, rappers were cool. So I was like, well, I guess I'll be a rapper.
Hey, some people still have that mindset out of high school.
Yeah, exactly. So as you kind of were getting older, man, and you kind of started to find your sound, how did you kind of work your way through all the technology and the DAWs you could try and all this? And what did you really settle on to produce your stuff with?
So like I said, I started with FL. The next thing I tried was Machine. I tried to do the hardware and the software. I really liked the Machine hardware. It was fun to use because I don't, like right now, all I have is my keyboard, and I use my just a laptop. With the Machine, you had the pads, and you had, you know, all kinds of things you could use with the hardware. But I just didn't like the software. It kind of like the way you made the songs. They made them in sections, and I just didn't like. I felt like it was restricting the way I did it, and so I didn't like that. And so I also tried. I tried Ableton after that, just because all my favorite people use Ableton now. Like Michael uses Ableton. I think you use Ableton. Everybody that has like my similar kind of sound, they all use Ableton. But I didn't like that one either, and so I just jumped back to FL. I've been on there ever since. I haven't changed it up since.
Man. Yeah, I mean, I feel like those two most popular are FL and Ableton. You know, and I kind of tell people like, hey, if you want to, you know, people are like, what should I get? And I'm like, okay, well, the real question is, what do you want to do? You know, if you want to produce music and then DJ it, you know, wiki like this, then get FL. and then get yourself, Tractor or some kind of DJ software and learn that, because FL is going to cost you $175 to $200, as where Ableton will start off at $300 and work its way up to $900. And if you spend that $150, you find you really, really like it, and then you want to do more, well, then you can drop some more cash on Ableton, but at least start off from there, because Ableton allows you to produce and do live stuff. There's a lot of things in there that a guy who just wants to learn to make beats doesn't need yet, So
yeah, Ableton, when you first look at it, it's a little intimidating when you look at it.
Yeah, it's got two different views.
I think FL is a little bit easier with kind of easing the new people in, and that's why it gets a lot of hate.
Yeah. It's weird because it makes no difference.
Yeah, at all. And then like I said, I produce on FL, and I know I'm not trash. So
no, so I know tons of big names in all the different genres. Like one of my favorite, if. I'm not a huge, EDM guy anymore, but I still respect, this guy by Seven Lions. Like, his music's amazing, and he uses FL. Porter Robinson uses FL.
People kind of say, it's because it's like a trap beat making program, or just because it has that beat sequencer in there.
That doesn't make any sense.
You don't even have to use that. You can do it any kind of way you want, man. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. It makes no. That always crack. And I've seen that debate for years.
Yeah,
for 10 years, people have been like, which DAW is better? I'm like, it doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't matter.
So you started off with Fruity Loops, and did you kind of start with just a keyboard at first, or how did you kind of work your way into learning the swing of things?
When I started, it was just my laptop. I wasn't really playing that many keys. I was actually trying to sample a lot.
Okay.
And so I didn't really have a keyboard, but then I went to when I went to College, one of my engineering classes, this guy, he just sold me a little keyboard with some pads on it, and from then I just have a little, it's like a MPK, I believe. It's just a small little keyboard. And I've been using that same thing ever since. I haven't changed it up at all.
Nice. Now, when you produce, do you use headphones, or do you have monitors? What do you kind of go with?
I kind of go back and forth between both. I like to use my headphones whenever I'm adding details. Let's say if I want to add some texture, or if I want to throw in a little drop, or just random sounds. I like to use the headphones because you can hear a lot of detail.
That ear candy.
Yeah, exactly. So and then when I'm trying to get the whole track together, I'll come out to the speakers.
For sure. Now, do you do the car test as well?
I do the car test. My car speakers suck though, but yeah, I do the car test.
Yeah, my car speakers are all right, but my girlfriend's got a brand new car.
Okay, yeah.
So even I'll cruise around and bump the homies on that and be like, hey, it passes the 2019 car test right here.
Yeah, I had a nicer car a couple of years back, and I would do it all the time, and that one. But this one right here, no, it's pretty bad, but I still do it just because.
Man, I used to go through stacks of CDs. I'd burn one track onto the CD, go to the car.
Yeah.
I gotta go back in. That
at first, I would take the whole laptop and then just put the aux cord in there. Yeah.
My car didn't have an aux. I didn't know anybody who had one, and so I would burn CDs and go put them in there and check them out. And I played hockey back then. I'd drive my hockey games and listen to the mixes and be like, oh man, now I gotta go fix this. So what do you find is for a lot of producers, you're there's always the joke that you're always finishing the mix, always finishing it. How do you fight that everlasting need to improve the mix, to just be beat's done, we're good?
I mean, sometimes it's hard to I don't know. It's just like a feeling you get when something's finished. I mean, I'm sure you've been there. When you're satisfied with it, you just kind of know. I don't really have a procedure where I'm I gotta have this, I gotta have this, I gotta have this, and then it's done. I just kind of feel around, and then eventually my ears, and I'm just satisfied with it. There's really no process to it.
Do you have a certain thing you kind of start with? Do you start drum, synth, or is it just kind of a feel?
So when I started making beats, I was definitely starting off with the drums a lot more. I'm trying to just to change the process and keep it interesting. I'm trying to start doing it backwards, working backwards and seeing what else I can find from there. But normally I do start with drums. That's what I'm most comfortable with. But when I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone, I'll start with a sample, or I'll start with a melody or whatever.
Definitely. And a lot of producers have their favorite BPM. Do you have a favorite BPM to start with?
I don't have a BPM to start with. Cuz honestly, man, my process is it's a little scatterbrained. I'll start off. I could start off at 100 and then end at 60. What I start with is barely what I end with when it comes to making beats. So.
Do you kind of, because some people will be like, nope, this is no good, and then they they just let that file disappear off. But or do you do that, or do you kind of just change things and work on the same file basically, or the same beat until you found it and it goes through all these different transformations?
It just depends on, like, if I'm getting bored with the beat, then yeah, I'm gonna pick a new one. But if I know there's like potential in it, then I'm gonna try to move something around it and keep it going. Like especially if I have a good sample, like if I have a sample that I really want to use, but like my first go at it is not that good, I'm like, nah, man, I gotta try this again. So I'll either like bring the pitch down, chop it differently, just do something with it.
Yeah, and so some of your beats, man, it's like simplicity meets texture. You know what I mean? Where it keeps me interested the whole time, and so it has kind of an XXYXX feel at times. So another question is, how do you know when you've come up with something where and you're satisfied with, like, okay, this doesn't have all this crazy technical stuff going on, but it's a feel. How are you satisfied?
I don't know. I can't describe it. I know for a fact that I feel like the beat has to have some kind of drop just to kind of like give it that breathing room. It has to have. I like a lot of texture, like you said. I like to have like background sounds going. It kind of keeps while the beat's going, it kind of keeps the ear occupied. I don't know how to describe like what it does for me, but I have to have those two things for sure. I don't know, man. Like it's just a feeling, man. Like I just know sometimes. Like
yeah. Okay. No, I understand that.
Yeah.
Now, Lofty Beats just called me, so I'm gonna answer his text message. I'm gonna say interviewing Daily Breed right now.
Shout out to Lofty.
Yeah, he's been in here before. He's been in here a couple times.
His name is super dope. Look of the year, and then it comes out as Lofty.
It didn't start that way.
Okay.
But it ended that way, which is good. Yeah, it was amazing the way he was able to connect like the fashion with the beats with that moniker.
Yeah, because he's always got the new threads, man.
Yeah, well, man, like I have multiple jackets, multiple shirts that he's found me. If he finds any kind of like rugby polo, he always sends it my way. Like, hey, I found this. So he's always got good stuff, man. But I kind of want to talk about this device that's in front of us right now, because a lot of people, this thing right here, have never seen this before, have absolutely no idea what this is. And I just kind of want you to explain what is an SP404.
So it's a sampler. I don't really use it the way that the pros use it right now, because I'm still pretty new to it. I got it last year. I think I've had it for about 6 months now. But yeah, it is a sampler. What I use it for, I trigger the songs that I play for my sets. But I don't know if you know who DiBiase is, but I've seen him use it. He's real crazy with it. I've seen people do like where they have like multiple samples and they just chop them up on here.
Yeah.
I might get into doing that later, because I want to start doing my chops with my hands instead of just doing them like with the computer. But yeah, it's essentially a sampler. It can be used for multiple things, man. It has a mic on here for recording. It has a bunch of stuff on there. I like to use the effects as well on some of my beats. There's like a vinyl simulator on here that kind of gives it that crackle sound. So it makes it feel like a little bit more warm when you're making the beat or whatever. But
yeah, we've got vinyl simulation here. These are all the effects. Can you scroll through all the effects?
Yeah, so like when you're doing it, you want to just be holding this button here and
FX, okay.
Yeah, and then you would the number of the effect will pop up. And that's why it's so hard to kind of do this on the fly, because like when you want to change something, like you got to hit the button, know the here, like you got to know the correct
when to press what and how to do it.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are so used to seeing a computer when they're used to music production in general, that when you bring only this, it's kind of like, how are you even, So are you running an SD card?
The SD card has like the whole set in there. And you just kind of have to like, if you're gonna play a set, you just kind of I write it down just to kind of remember what my set is.
Yeah, for sure.
But you just gotta know like what button is what and switch the banks and everything.
Yeah,
but like I said, I'm still new on this thing, so I'm trying to get like God level on it.
Yeah, you and JK are definitely like the best as far as I've seen from coming on and using these things to perform as well. Because it's not easy. For me, I'm like, how? So basically, how do you go from the SD card to putting it onto one of these pads?
So you would have to. There's a program that it comes with on the computer, and then like it just tells you you'll have your banks, like bank A. So bank A will have pad 1 through 12, and then you just put the song on each pad, and then you go to pad or bank B Same
Okay.
thing with, all the way through J.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, and so that's how. So let's say if you just wanted, like, if you wanted to, if you put a whole track on pad 1, can you also go to where it would just play a certain amount or certain piece of that track?
So you would have to. Like, you would have to chop that, you'd have to load it up that way.
Okay,
So
okay, yeah.
wherever you wanted to start is where it's going to be.
So yeah, so if you put a drum sample on there, it's got to,
Right.
Know,
Now, if there is a way to do that, I haven't found it yet because
Uh-huh.
there's not a lot of information online about these things. Like,
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
A couple people make videos about them, but like the stuff that I want to do, not a lot of people are giving up the secrets to it. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's hidden.
Yeah, I'm like trial and error with this thing, and then I also the people that sold it to me, they have like a number that you can call, and they're they know how to use it. So
Call these guys, man.
No, the guy, he'll hit me up like, hey man, how you doing? Like, how's your shows going and stuff like that, and he'll like give me tips on certain things to do. So
That's
I'm still
pretty.
learning with
That's
this
pretty
thing,
cool.
though.
How how many places do you know still has a hotline you can call and
Hey,
be
look.
like, all right, man, I want to know how to, because I've seen it. A lot of Instagram videos and stuff. Guys are drumming. They're drumming on these pads, and they're hitting these, and these are these different samples.
Right.
And there's so many things on here. You've got loop, reverse, so you can reverse it all of a sudden, switch it back. So there's just so much, and it's not only like producers and beat makers who use these things. I see them with different bands too.
Oh really?
I'll go see
I've seen
bands,
that.
and they've got Biographies. They're a local band, and one of their frontman, he has one of these, and then another one of the guys has one too. And so they'll record their guitars into it, and they'll and then they have it connected to a loop pedal. It's crazy. It's part of their whole loop pedal setup. Is
Yeah,
is
you
one of
can
these
do like
things.
some like I said, I've seen some crazy stuff with this thing online. So I'm trying to get really good at it, but right now I'm still starting off. But it's on the way.
So,
y'all know.
when you open FL, do you have any kind of go-to plugins, or do you kind of build your synths from scratch? What do you look for?
Well, there's a couple plugins that I used to use a lot. There's one called Poison that's built into FL, and that one has it's a stock plugin, but there's some stuff you can get on there and really create with if you just edit it the right way. There's really no set plugins that I use. I mean, I have some presets for like certain little samples that I use, like certain little drops and everything.
Yeah.
But I try to, like, every beat that I come to, I try to give it a different feel. So I don't stick too much to one one VST or anything like that.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. And so, like, what gets you inspired, man? What makes you want to sit down and make some music?
So listening to other artists for sure. Because one thing that I do, like, let's say if I'm feeling blocked and I can't like make a beat. One thing that I'll start with is like I'll go listen to a song that I like. I like to like bite the drums sometimes. Like I'll just take one thing from the song and try to make it my own.
Yep.
And just build off of that. Like, because like I said, what I start with is not usually what I end with. So I'll take someone's drums and then mix them up, and then next thing I know, I got a full track. Like so. That's usually my process.
That's and that's what I love about the whole beat making and just music in general. It's that art and any kind of art form, man, where there's nothing there.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on. It's just this. You're like, I kind of feel like doing this, And so that's what I find really interesting is we as people, we have food, water, shelter, but then also we have these other creative things that we go about, and nobody can ever really necessarily pinpoint what makes you want to do it. It's just this drive to create in a way, either to build something or then chop something down and then turn that into something new. And then as it went we go from animal skin stretched over wood to drums to this right now, so
Exactly.
there's always been this drive for music and art and things to exist. Like I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day that was like, man, what if Mozart, what if these guys were around with all of this technology you have now? How would they view it? What would they have come up with? Would we be hanging out in some? Yeah,
Mozart would be hating on me right now.
He might just, but he might love the bass of it too because he can feel it. Because like imagine you go to the Victorian times, the Romance era, and all of a sudden it's Daily Breed sitting around all these people, big old wigs and everything, bombing one of these out, and so
put me in a Renaissance painting.
I got an idea right there. That's not a bad idea. We'll Banksify some of these old Renaissance paintings with producers sitting them instead. So, man. We've kind of talked about the different things, kind of how you kind of came to the beat making through Adult Swim, kind of the process as well. And so whenever you started to start coming and playing beats live, was Breakfast and Beats the first time that you did that?
Yeah, man, that was the first. I actually dude, I got this thing the week that we agreed that I would do it. I got it the same week, and I was like, I took off work for 2 days, and I was like, I gotta learn how to use it. You gotta ask him, bro. He's my roommate. You can ask him.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
I took off work for 2 days, and I was like, I gotta learn how to use this like today. So,
that's
like,
really cool, man.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that I've always loved about, you know, what Backyard lets us come down there and do, and playing beats and everything, man, is, you know, you get to give people the opportunity to come and show what they're making, you know, because if you've kept up with the beats in a way, there's some stuff that goes on in LA and there's some stuff in Atlanta, but there's some stuff in the Northwest and, you know, Seattle and Oregon, a little bit going up on in the Northeast too with Sunday Sauce, those guys up there. But there's not a whole lot going on in between there. You know, the Midwest and all that. And especially, you know, in Texas, it has some formidable musicians in it, but I kind of wanted to start let people see, like, hey, we can make music too. It's not just country. It's not just Post Malone.
Yeah, I feel like Texas definitely has like a blanket over it for being like a certain way.
But like even Denton, we actually, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 months ago, maybe even less than that. We are officially like a music friendly town, according to. Hey Jake, can you remind me what is the Texas Music Office? So like
Stamp.
Yeah, so you can go and you can put your information in this huge booklet, you know, that's got everybody who makes music in it. So at this event that actually Jake did, everybody wrote down who they were, and now if you wrote your name, like my name, Kind Beats, is in this huge booklet now of musicians, you know, people like Matt Grigsby and other artists. So that's what's really cool about this place is that not only has the whole state recognized it, but then locally as well, you know, the guys like over at Backyard and everything have been like, we want a place for this type of music.
Okay.
You know, even LSA, like first time Mercy played up there, he looked around, he was like, I don't know if my music's right for this. I was like, no, they like it. Like if people enjoy that change.
And that's what, I didn't know that much about Denton until I started coming out here and doing the Breakfast and Beats and everything. And yeah, bro, I like the scene because it's a lot more open to different styles and just different types of music for sure.
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Michigan.
Okay.
I was born in Saginaw, Michigan, and then I lived in Detroit from up until I was about. Well, I moved out here. I was like 13.
Okay.
So yeah. I came out here. I think I was like in the 8th grade when I came here. So
yeah. So you and Breezy are both from Detroit.
Yeah.
And then there's a dude coming out on Sunday, Eric Mooney, who lives in Detroit now.
Oh, for real?
And he was like, I live in Detroit now, but I used to live in Denton.
Oh, okay.
He was like, I've been kind of a creeper on the social medias for a
he's
while.
He's coming out here just to play.
Well, he said he was coming down to visit, to see his family, and he was like, I don't know if you have a spot, and I was like, yes, we actually do.
Yeah.
You can play this time. He hit me up early, like 3 weeks in advance, which is a good way to go about doing it, man. So you've actually got a show, let's see, not this weekend, but next weekend. Is it next Friday or Saturday?
It's next Saturday on the 26th.
So what do we got going on there?
I'm gonna play an hour beat set. It's gonna be at Deep Ellum Art Co. I go on at 8:00.
Okay.
Boy, Mercy goes on at 7, so
nice.
y'all show up for him too.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna be there for that for sure.
Yeah,
so no doubt.
Yeah, me and him. He goes on at 7, I go on at 8. I don't know if you know Plu, but he's gonna be there too.
I know Connor Hatfield, who's on it.
Yeah.
He's on it too. And then you and Michael. Those are the guys who I know specifically.
Okay. There's another guy named Plu and then K-Wash. They're all in there. So yeah, that's gonna be a nice show.
Is everybody kind of a similar style, or is it?
I feel like me and Michael kind of have sort of similar styles. Plu is like he has his own thing. Like Plu is he has like a.
I like that name.
Yeah, his name is the full name is Plu Star Fox.
Okay.
So yeah, you can already kind of tell, but
these gamer kids, man.
Yeah. So he has like a trap. It's like a trap, like video. He puts a lot of video game samples in his stuff.
Okay.
So it's like a trap video game lo-fi sound. Like it's he's real tight.
He's got his own thing.
Yeah, he's got his own
for
thing.
Sure. For sure, man. That's really cool. And so how did you get that show? How did that kind of come about?
It was actually random, man. The guy that's throwing the show, he just called me one day. He's been checking me out. He lives out here in Dallas. He heard my last EP that I put out last year, and he liked that the house one that I dropped. And he just hit me up beginning the first week of January and was like, "Yeah, man, you want to do the show?" And
that's awesome, man. Yes. So who's putting it on? What's his name?
His name is Chris Rucker. He goes by Wake Up Narco.
Okay.
On social media. So
okay, cool. Yeah. Chris Rucker. I'm gonna have to, because I'm gonna come out and I'm always, anybody who's putting on those types of shows, I'm like, hey, dude, what? This is cool. I do this up there. You do this down here. Like that was how we got connected through Austin and a bunch of other spots. It was just meeting other people who kind of did the similar thing, man. So that's really cool, And a lot of people, especially in this realm of music, they're trying to find out how do I get in front of people? You know,
Right.
how do I just get to a venue? How do I play in front of people this music? And that's really all it is just keep doing it.
Yeah, just
you know, make the music, you know, go to some shows, find places that are doing that, and then go there, and then find the person who is promoting and booking for that show, and then go introduce yourself casually. You don't ever want to be like, yeah, you don't, you know, because they've probably, you know, they've been where you are most likely. Like I have been the guy who's like trying to find out how do I get shows, and it was just through making music, and like you said, it kind of finds you. Then you'll kind of, and then once preparation meets opportunity, you know, don't mess it up too much, and they'll have you back again. You know, so that was how I got hooked up at Deep Elm Art Company. You know, was playing some music with some other bands and all that, and then just, you know, those bands were like, hey, we're playing the show, can you open for us? Boom. So
yeah, this would be my first time playing out in Deep Ellum, so
that's what's up. Well, I will let you know, this is gonna be cool. We got about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
I've been talking to the homies at Off the Record.
Off the Record.
Yeah, so they are open. So we're gonna go play down in Deep Ellum. It's gonna probably be on like a Thursday night, you know, because I mean that place is awesome, and so their Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays are booked.
Yeah,
you know?
several times.
But yeah, man. So this is another strange thing on Christmas, it was Christmas. Or I'm talking to my older brother, and he's like, so how the show's going, man? I was like, oh, I played down in Deep Elm Art Company a few times. And he was like, oh, my homie from high school owns Club Dada and Off the Record. And I was like, okay, I've been doing this for like 5 years. You just telling me this?
He
He was like, well, yeah. I was like, has this always been this way? Yeah. He's like, oh, no. I was like, look, man, let's just. And so I was like, I'm gonna call you in a couple days, and I need his information. And so, you know, I hit up my brother, and my brother gave me his number. I hit him up. And he was like, oh, man, let's hang out sometime. We can make fun of your brother and reminisce. I was like, that's cool with me. I'm always down. And then he was like, here's the booking agent's information. So I messaged that dude. He hit me back today, gave me the details. So we'll have something going on down at Off the Record at Deep Elm. So
what's the date on that?
I don't even know yet.
Don't know yet?
So
okay.
Once again, he hit me back. I said, let me talk to everybody. Let me find out when everybody's available. But that's how it happens, man. Is just these random things and just working through the connections and finding people. And then, you know, there's a lot of people who have never been able to play in front of somebody, and then they get to, and then they get addicted to it, and they keep going.
For me, it was definitely like a step outside of my comfort zone, especially just like asking you to come onto the show, because I never did anything live before, and I never actually saw myself doing anything live before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Yeah, man. But it's you know, I love the music, man. It's real good. And so, what is the most recent? What was that? What was the name of the last EP that you came out with?
The last EP was called Grid.
Yeah, because I used to run to it. Because it had that kind of feel, so I could hit a stride and you disappear. That's what I mean, man. The music is it's melodic. There's a good groove, and it kind of hooks you. And dude, I would go run like 3 miles to it, and all of a sudden I was back home, and I was like, oh, whoa, you know. I'd realize, you know, and I'd hit that runner's high, and I'd feel even better, you know, and keep going. So, and how long was that EP?
It was 4 tracks long, probably about 30 minutes.
Yeah, so it was like that perfect, like, you know, I'd always try to beat those 3 miles, you know, back to my place before the EP was done.
Oh,
you
man.
know, because then at least I knew I was under 10 minutes, you know. I'm trying to get that 8-minute mile, and apparently get an insurance discount, you know. So, but yeah, man, you know, I dig what you and Michael are doing, man. That's why I wanted to bring you on, you know, and just talk to you, kind of get to know the vibes and where you came from, and then how you found yourself here at this point. And you know, man, I just keep going. You know, just keep doing it. You know, just like with Mercy, Sanford, everybody who has gotten to come out and play. You know, that was always my goal, is just to give people a place to, you know, show that music, and then, you know, keep that scene growing.
Man, and I'm appreciative, man. I'm glad you're doing that for us.
So my last question for you, man, and I ask this with everybody, is what is your favorite snack?
My favorite
What's your snack of choice? Man, I've heard avocados.
I had a feeling you were going to ask me something about food, man. I don't know why.
I love food, man. Avocados and crushed sea salt was one person's. One person just said bread.
Bread?
I was
hey,
like,
sometimes bread be hitting, man.
Just
when your pockets is hit, the bread
white, some white bread. I was like, you don't.
Actually, my mom.
You toast it.
My mom makes this. And it's crazy that it's come from my mom, but she makes like a chili dip. With like just regular like nacho chips. That's like the
That's the note right there.
Yeah.
That rings the bell. I like that, dude.
Yeah.
So I've had nobody has ever said their mom's chili dip. One of the biggest ones has always been like the Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Trash.
I
trash.
Conrad is upset.
Flamin' Hot Cheetos are garbage. I heard it here first.
My boss told me I can't eat those anymore because I actually called in sick one day and admitted to him that I ate too many Flamin' Hots, and that
like
was
after the third one, you don't even don't even taste them anymore. Like,
I had to call in. He was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I'm not sick, man. I ate too many Flamin' Hots last night. They're hurt." And he was just like, "Dude, don't." No, he's like, don't ever call in again for that.
put the Flamin' Hots down.
Put the Flamin' Hots down, man. Yeah, dude. Well, man, thanks again for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate you coming out, dude. Yeah. It's been fun. It's cool to just watch you making beats, keep putting out stuff, man. And I look forward to the show that's going to be going on next week, man. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday on the 26th. Deep Ellum Art Company. You've got Daily Breed, Mercy. We've got Plu, Connor Hatfield, am I forgetting? And then K-Wash, right? Yeah, I can't believe I got all those right that time. But, man, once again, thank you to LSA Burger Company for sponsoring the show, keeping us on the air. Y'all tune in next time right here on Sound Values, and don't forget to tune in to Sunday Brunch every Sunday from 1 to 2 p.m. My name is Kind Beats. This is Daily Breed. That's the roommate over there. Peace.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.